When I think of the sport middleweight category, there's really generally two sides of the coin. One is the more beginner-friendly, more approachable sport bikes like the R7 and the Ninja 650, or maybe the Ninja 500 if you want to consider that a middleweight. And there's the other side, the more advanced ones that you can take to the track and really push and enjoy, like the F3 and the R6. But the bike that we have today sits right in the middle. Something that you can enjoy on the racetrack and friendly enough that you can ride on city roads with no issues as a daily bike. And this is it right here, the Aprilia RS660. So let's find out a little bit more about it in this episode of Beyond the Ride. For the uninitiated, Aprilia is an Italian brand with a storied history, with 54 world titles under its belt, which they proudly show off with a graphic on the tank. They're no stranger to racing and creating some mean machines. As with many other motorcycle brands, Aprilia began life as a bicycle manufacturer after the Second World War. When founder Alberto Baggio passed on the leadership of the company to his son Ivano, it didn't take long until they began producing and racing motorcycles. Now, while you may be surprised Aprilia got its start with motocross in the 1980s, they shifted to road racing, which is now their bread and butter. They went on to bag multiple titles in the 90s and 2000s with future MotoGP champions Valentino Rossi and Jorge Lorenzo. Today, their racing DNA stands strong with the RS-V4 factory, but Aprilia figured not everyone wants to literally be a racer every day. Thus, they came out with the RS660, a more approachable bike where leathers aren't required to fully enjoy it. The RS660 is powered by a liquid-cooled 659cc parallel twin that punches out 100 horsepower and 67 Nm of torque. And this is one hell of a parallel twin. It's derived from the motor of the RS-V4, so it's pretty much half of a V4. You can tell by the sound. Let me show you. Parallel twin. I don't think that's stock though. Stopping power is done by a pair of 320mm discs with 4-piston Brembo calipers up front and a 220mm disc with a 2-piston caliper at the rear. Wheels are 17s front and rear, and the bike comes with Diablo Rosso Corsa 2's stock. Keeping bumps at bay are a 41mm fully adjustable Cayaba fork and a fully adjustable shock for the rear. The technology that comes with the RS660 is definitely a step above what you'd expect for a middleweight. It comes with 3 ride modes: commute, dynamic, and customizable. And the customizable individual, where you can go through all different kinds of settings. Engine maps, engine braking, cornering, ABS, traction control, wheelie control, and on top of that, it even has cruise control. This is something that you usually see in a much higher displacement bike. And it's really cool to see Aprilia give the riders so much options for personalization. There also are more track-focused ride modes such as Challenge and Time Attack. The up and down quick shifter is pretty awesome. Fast, satisfying, and upshifting gives you a nice popping noise. Alright, so with us right now is 4-time Philippine Superbike champion Marvin Mangolabdan, and check out the big brother of the 660 right here, Marvin.
Aprilia RS4 1100 factory.
And syempre, na-try mo na rin to,
Yeah.
the 660. I'm sure it's very different from that.
Yeah, of course. But the good thing is, with the 660, this is a very high-tech bike for a 660 bike.
Yeah.
Because it has a quick shift and auto flip, and I think it's has a wide capacity to tune.
No, when I was out on the track for the first session, I noticed, I actually had a lot of fun with it already. Parang sobrang solid ng bike na to.
Sarap gamitin niya.
Sobrang sarap. My one complaint is yung suspension niya.
Actually, same.
Oh,
Same
yeah.
feel, same
Okay,
feel.
okay.
Everything's good. Rear suspension lang.
Yes. Especially ako, yung first turn pa lang. Kasi
turn,
coming from full throttle, parang yung feel, nagbabounce ka talaga. It's like,
Yung
oh,
nasa big
oy.
corner ka, nag-chop siya eh.
Oo. So that was my one main complaint about the bike. But aside from that, napakasarap gamitin.
Sarap gamitin. Actually, may similarity siya with this RS4s, especially the panel gauge. Full TFT na siya. Then yun nga, yung auto blip and quick shift. So meron yung RS660.
So I mean, it's and with this bike, yung gusto ko din dito, pwede rin sa road. Parang it's friendly enough to use on the road. That syempre medyo mahirap na yan. But ito, kayang-kaya eh. Happy siya on the road.
Sobrang sarap gamitin.
Yeah.
Yun yung nung first time ko siya na-try, sabi ko ang sarap gamitin. Yung power delivery niya, very linear. Then mafe-feel mo yung every quick shift and downshift.
Yeah, I love it.
Feel mo yung technology ng bike.
I love it. I mean, I've only was out on the bike today for the first time. I really enjoyed
I tried
it.
it kanina also.
Masaya siya. Well, thank you very much, bro.
Thank you.
Good luck this season.
Thank you.
And looking forward to see what else is in store for
yeah.
Marvin Mangolabnan. Now, as Marvin said, the tech that you get with this bike is really something that you don't see in the middleweight sport bike category. And it's just right. I mean, it's really all here. Now the headlights, which by the way, I think looks really good and are LED by the way, they are also high tech because, well, they don't just turn on when you need them, they also have cornering lights when you need those. And the look of the bike, well, it's Italian, it's sexy, it looks good. I think it's actually one of the better looking middleweights out there. I think the R6 still looks better, to be honest with you, but it's sexy, I like it. Now the wet weight of the bike is 183 kilograms wet, which isn't so bad. And the fuel consumption around the city is just about 14 kilometers per liter, which honestly isn't so great. But you know what? If the bike was like this, I don't think I would really mind. On the highway though, that's where it gets a little bit special. You get about 26 kilometers per liter, which is very good. Now on the racetrack, don't even bother asking. Now, like most sport bikes, the seat height is a little bit on the higher side for most Asian riders out there. It's 820 millimeters. I'm 5'6", with a 764 millimeter inseam. And as you can see, as expected, there's a little bit of a tiptoe right here with my race boots. Now, the highlights of the bike don't end with the features. It also, you can talk about the ergonomics and just the way it rides on the racetrack.
The Aprilia RS660 is sort of like a Goldilocks sport bike. It's not too fast that you'd be scared to ring it out, but not lacking in power that you'd be left wanting more. There's torque nice and low in the rev range, perfect for riding around the city and cruising on the highway as well. But when you rev it all the way to 12,000, the motor begins to sing and you can hear a very V4-like note. A jack of all trades will always be a master of none. That is just a fact of life. But the RS660 is really impressive in a way that all levels of riders can thoroughly enjoy it. Whether you're more of a chill rider on the street like Jack, or you regularly rip tracks on the weekend like Marvin Mangolabnan, the RS660 will not fail to put a smile on your face. The numerous electronic options available on this bike also make it more approachable and customizable. There's lots to configure, so it's easy to find what's best for you, whether you're a novice or a much more advanced rider. Another great thing about the RS660 is the ergonomics. You're not too lean forward to the point that your wrists will hurt when riding around the streets. But along with the perfectly set foot pegs, it still invites you to lean into a corner, and it feels really spot on here in the Clark International Speedway. Cornering with this bike is a blast. It's light and nimble, and given that it's a twin, the overall profile of the bike is much slimmer in width, so you can really hug the bike with your legs and feel like you're one with the machine. Around town and on the highway, it's far more comfortable than you'd expect an exotic Italian to be. Peg placement is good, and the clips are not too extreme, and the heat is also mitigated very well. So even in a pinch around town, you really won't feel the heat that much. A middleweight sport bike does not need to be a fire-breathing machine to be enjoyed. Bikes like the R6 and the F3 are definitely much more dedicated to speed and performance, but they're not something I'd like to take on a daily. The RS660 blends it all together very well with great ergonomics, electronics, and a really versatile motor.
All right, so in conclusion, Aprilia has something special with this bike right here. They have the tech, they have enough comfort, they have the performance. And yes, you can change the suspension so that when you use it out on the track, it's a little bit more suitable for it. But for the road, this is absolutely perfect. And it's a nice sweet spot that really, in my opinion, didn't quite exist before in the middleweight sport bike category. Again, you had the R7, the Ninja 650, the Ninja 500, which is new by the way. And then you have a little bit on the extreme side, the R6 and the F3, so on and so forth. But this, it's right there in the middle, and it is special. But something this special comes at a price, and it's pretty steep. 910,000 Philippine pesos for a middleweight motorcycle. However, at that price, if you think about it, a lot of those other bikes that I mentioned earlier in the entry level or the middleweight category for sport bikes, they don't really come with all the goodies that this does. They save this for the super bikes, the leader bikes that they sell. But Aprilia gives them to you with their middleweight sport bike. And if that is enough for you, maybe, just maybe, the bike is worth it. For more information about this bike on our MCs out there, log on to www.motodeal.com.ph. I'm Gino Rufino. Thanks for watching. Be on the ride.